Yep. Okay, we'll do this one more time. Good evening. Today is July 7th, 2025. It is now 5:31 PM. We're here for the regular trustee meeting. If you can join me for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, if we could just take a brief moment just to, a moment of silence for those in Texas that are affected by the floods and have lost their children and their loved ones, just to give them some thought, as well as one of our own, at least that I know of, Lieutenant Fothergill, who's there trying to assist in that, and all the other first responders that are digging in to try to dig out. Thank you. We have an agenda before us. Are there any changes or modifications, Mr. Ryan?
Yes, Board. Under new business, I do request two additional items. They are on your printed copy of your agenda, but one is the cooperative agreement for the Dayton Xenia Road multi-use path. And then, if that is approved, the purchase request for the Dayton Xenia Road multi-use path under new business.
Thank you. If no other changes, do we have a motion to approve as amended?
Hearing no other changes, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the general ledger report in the amount of $345,155.48 for the June 11th, 2025 payroll.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the general ledger report in the amount of $361,353.22 for the June 25th, 2025 payroll.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the payments listing report in the amount of $1,098,994.44 for warrants through July 2nd, 2025.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. And at this time, we have minutes from the June 2nd special trustee meeting and the June 2nd regular trustee meeting. Are there any changes, modifications, additions? If not, we have a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the June 2nd special trustee meeting and the June 2nd regular trust meeting as presented.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. Okay, at this time, we have, looks like two pre-scheduled speakers. So, Mr. Rushing, if you can do the intros.
Yes, Board. First, we have Shadrack Adams, the Environmental Health Director with Greene County Public Health Department, give us a brief update on the doings of public health. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Adams.
So first of all, thank you to the board. Appreciate giving Greene County Public Health a few minutes this evening. I'm here on behalf of the Board of Health and Health Commissioner Melissa Howell to talk about a couple of things. First, to inform you that this November, we expect to be on the ballot a renewal for the levy that the Health Department operates under. A 0.8 mil levy generates about 34% of the annual budget, about $3 million of our $8 million. Now, to be perfectly clear, I'm not here to advocate for any particular position on that, but to answer any questions if you have any. What I would like to talk about, though, is some of the things that public health has been able to accomplish over the last year, especially. What you may know we do, things like restaurant inspections, WIC, the other ways that we serve the community visibly are just a small portion of what actually gets done for public health. We also have programs like early intervention, early childhood home visiting, We have a newer program called Nurse Family Partnership. These are ways to help new mothers and new families get established safely to reduce the incidence of infant mortality here in Greene County, and those initiatives have really paid off. Some of the other things we do include health promotion. We have, of course, a safe trade syringe exchange program, but also we have Project Dawn, which is a way to get naloxone out there to reduce overdose deaths. Certainly something that's helped first responders and just Greene County citizens in general. Of course, from my side of things, environmental health, we do restaurant inspections and pool inspections. We do septic systems and well and water sampling, that sort of thing. Over the last couple of years, we've been able to apply for grants to help low-income families repair their septic systems, sometimes completely free of charge for those who are well qualified. Not only helps the family itself, but it helps the whole community stay clean and healthy. And we're constantly on the lookout for ways that we can benefit Greene County folks however we can. That's about it. I just wanted to give a little quick spiel. Are there any questions I can answer for the board while I'm here? Anything about the levy or about what we do?
So this is a strictly renewal, it's no additional taxes that you're asking for? So I would just say, obviously, make sure to get that message out loud and proud that there's nothing additional. And then I guess the follow-on to that is, how have you been able to keep up from an inflation standpoint without asking for additional money?
That's a great question, one that's more properly directed to our deputy health commissioner, but I can tell you that we are constantly on the lookout for funding like what I just mentioned, ways to help people help themselves. We are partially fee-based. Every year we go through what we call a cost methodology, especially on my side of things, where we take a look at what it costs to actually perform an inspection and then base a permit cost on that exact figure. So that's one of the ways we keep up with inflationary costs. But the truth is, as you well know here, it is a challenge to stay up. Personnel expenses especially are expensive at this
Sure.
point, so.
On your, as far as I guess I'll call it the public health piece of it, from a standpoint of health inspections, pool, septic, well inspections. So where you were mentioning as far as assistance that may be available, need-based assistance, whether it's a failed septic system replacement or a well system like that. So it would be probably helpful. We have certain streets within the township, within the unincorporated portion that have had, it's essentially, the question is, did the well dry up? Was the well not maintained right? Did the neighboring construction, take the water from them? This, that, and the other. But it would be helpful if you've got anything pamphlet-wise or whatever information could be put at least on our website, to be able to inform those residents, hey, if you meet these criteria, there may be some assistance available to replace your failed well or your failing well. Type thing.
Well, Mr. Kress, if I could forward that to Ryan.
Perfect,
Get back to
yeah.
the office, would that be okay?
That'd be great.
But yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah,
Any way we can help.
because there may be a blend of some need and some that don't need, from a financial assistance. But if nothing else, we know that they've been vocal as far as that they need public water or they need new wells. And some of that's a maintenance issue on the homeowner. Some of it might be a combination of maintenance, development, and other aspects that's beyond their control. So, okay.
We've had a little easier year, hopefully, with the water that we have had. That has helped. We were in quite a drought by midsummer last year, and that caused a number of well problems.
Sure.
In certain areas, especially in Beavercreek Township. So
Yeah, okay.
hopefully that's relieved a little bit.
I had no other questions, unless Ms. Wallace or Ms. Steve.
I had a question that's not part of your division, but in Greene County as a whole, are vaccines becoming more popular? I mean, people vaccinating their kids more, or is it happening less?
I wish I could say it was. No, ma'am. Across the board, vaccinations have been decreasing.
That's what I thought.
Even well-established vaccines like
Polio
measles, rubella, those sorts of things have been on a steady decline, not precipitous, but year over year, there's been a
Yeah,
decline.
I was just wondering if anything picked up anymore, but with measles and stuff, than what they were talking
I wish.
on a
wish so.
national.
No,
No.
ma'am, no. We do what we can with our outreach, you know, that's a big part, since you mentioned it, a big part of our early intervention is helping mothers, especially in young families, understand why it's so important that those diseases have a very real impact on some of those kids, and they're out there again and resurging in some cases.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's preventable if you just take the shot.
Yes, it is. Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you all. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Steve, we'll see you Thursday.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Our second presentation, we do have with us the age-friendly consultant with measurement resources. So I'd like to bring up Charlie Bauer to present just an initial scope and kind of the baseline of, what his firm is going to be doing for both the township and city when we do move forward with the age-friendly grant. So, Mr. Bauer, I'll turn it over to you, and I'll be your clicker here.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me today. Deborah, I think you heard me speak a couple weeks ago to Beavercreek City, and I presented almost identical version of this, so you would have the same information. But thanks for having me. My name is Charlie Bauer. I'm the Executive Director of Measurement Resources Company. We are a research and organizational development firm based in Columbus. We've been around since 2008. We have 10 researchers on our team that help do this important work. Next, we work exclusively with government and nonprofit. We're not researching for the private sector. And we work for single-person tiny nonprofits as well as billion-dollar government agencies. And everything in between. This is not a sales pitch, but I did want to level set where we are and who we are. These are just a sampling of our clients, and here's a sampling of some of our services and needs. I believe that this group heard of us because of some referrals from Miami County, for whom we did very similar research there, for the Department of Development. And also the Troy Foundation, we did a significant community needs assessment there a couple years ago. So today, I'll talk for about 10 or 12 minutes next. What is age-friendly community and what's that research about, and then why it matters for you and what the steps of the process will look like. Feel free to interrupt me or ask questions throughout. It's completely great and wonderful. So next, the goals of this project are ultimately not. This project's a little smaller than this, but this is the long-term goal of becoming an age-friendly community: is promote livability for all ages, identify gaps and opportunities in the short term, and then ultimately foster inclusive community planning. So, age-friendly is a definition and initiative of AARP. So it was launched in partnership with the World Health Organization. It aims to help communities become livable for everyone, and with a specific focus on folks who are getting a little older. And it focuses on 8 domains of livability and encourages local governments, that's you, to work and commit to continuous improvement. And when I say relevance to Beavercreek, I'm talking about the city and township and sort of the greater area. But this work will provide a structured framework for assessing the needs instead of just saying we need more buses or more ambulances or more bicycle lanes. This will provide some formal research around that activity, data-driven and inclusive. We hope that this aligns with your goals for aging population support. Again, when I use the word Beavercreek generally, I'm talking about the township and the city and the greater area, not one or the other. And with AARP, we have access and you have access to additional resources beyond just what we do. Next. This is the step of the whole process for AARP's age-friendly program. You've already enrolled. Deborah, I think you were instrumental in making this all happen, so congratulations. I think you got a grant to do the work, which is great. This project that Measurement Resources and our team will be doing is just year one. It's the community needs assessment research coming on. Those don't necessarily need to correspond with calendar years, but roughly that's a pretty close timeline. After the needs assessment is when an action plan is developed, and maybe something like a strategic plan, and then years 3 through 5 you implement and track and make sure you're hitting the goals that you set out for yourself. So again, this project itself is just the community needs assessment component if we're level setting. So next, these are the 8 domains of livability. Outdoor spaces and buildings, parks, decks, transportation, buses, Lyft, bicycles, whatever that may be. Housing is a big one, obviously. Social participation, recreation and activities, respect and social inclusion, work and civic engagement, communication and information, and then health services. Questions on that? Oh, it's a good place to pause, but this has all been established by who and sort of elaborated on with the survey instrument from AARP that I'll talk a little bit more about. Next. So the strategy is stakeholder involvement, and the outreach methods are surveys and focus groups. So we will survey, broadly speaking, electronic surveys to start, and we use invested partner networks. So things like United Way, churches, schools, and other groups that we have access to. We'll do all the work, but we ask for gentle introductions to those groups so that we can, they don't think of us as spam and that kind of stuff. And then we do focus groups, because sometimes when you get people in the room talking with their peers, they tell you a whole lot more than they do in a survey. So that's a really instrumental part of this work. Next. That's the same one, so next. Thank you. So the AARP has already developed, if you'd like to have this and pass it around, I'll give it to you.
I have it.
This is kind of the default, so we start with this and then we add or eliminate things based on the specifics of the community. So if, I'll use an extreme example that's wrong, but if you didn't allow bicycles here, we would remove reference to questions about bicycles, because it may not be applied. Or if there was a really great bus system that you wanted to emphasize, we might add extra questions about that, something like that. So that's the starting point. So each of those 8 domains of livability has a set of questions related to it. And then there are also demographic questions in there. How long have you lived in your home? What do you anticipate needing 10 years from now? Questions around that kind of stuff. Certainly we ask other demographic questions, age itself. Are you caring for a family member, or are you in need of certain services right now? What do you think about healthcare access? All the things. Feel free to dig into that. Next slide. So we look for common themes, and we break this down. We've got really smart analysts on our team. Harley, who was with me on my other visit, he has a master's degree in biostatistics from Ohio State. He's an expert in taking all this data and making sense of it, because I can't. But it's statistically valid and accurate data, so we can eliminate the noise and the outlying kind of data points. And then we sort of break that down into strengths and areas of improvement. The implementation plan, we are co-creating great instruments, surveys, and focus group protocol. I think that Andy and his colleague at the city have received maybe yesterday or this morning.
We just got it, yeah.
So we're already in the process. So the first step of this new survey, updated survey, is on their desk, and they're ready for a review of that. Once that is established, we implement it. We start sending it out. We don't send anything out without the buy-in of the stakeholders, which is you and the city. Make sure you guys approve of it. It's got the right logos and all the things on it. After several weeks of having that out in the world, and we have enough data, we then analyze it and build a report and bring it back to you and present, hopefully again here. Next. For some reason, my printed notes stopped there, so I'm gonna try to make sure I know all this stuff. Next. Okay, yeah, this is the timeline, so we're already about a month in, because today is July 14th. No, today is 7th. Oh, that's right. This was not in our original plan, but I'm so happy to be here, so thank you. Today's July 7th, so we are in the process of sharing that survey with your teams broadly. Then next week, Harley, not myself, will attend a working session. This is at the city, and if any of you want to be there, that would be great, but it's okay if not. In mid-July, which is sometime right after that meeting, we'll launch this, provided everything goes well. The survey runs sometime into August, and then also the time we'll be doing the focus groups. For those scheduled. October, November is when we do the data analysis and reporting, and then January we'll present back to City Council. And again, apologies, that doesn't say township, but the intention here is to make sure all stakeholders.
So the survey that you shared with staff, is this survey or a hybrid of?
It's already become a hybrid of that.
Okay.
So it's already been tweaked a little bit. I don't think there's been dramatic changes, but
Not yet.
yeah.
Okay. And when you say you gather responses to this, how are you communicating something of this nature? Is it through an app, through a website? Are you
Yeah, the
mailing
survey's
it? Are you
executed
physically
on-
meeting with people at the senior center?
Yeah,
What are
we
you
use
doing?
enterprise software for that survey is distributed electronically.
Okay.
An email typically, and then you fill out your phone.
So how are you getting their emails?
So we will send this through trusted partner organizations, places like
Okay.
United Way, churches.
Through those groups that you
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
before? Okay,
Yeah.
so you're gonna
Yeah.
piggyback on their existing relationship with, we'll call it the client, and then can leverage that to then get a response. And then are you spoon feeding this out, or are you expecting are you spoon feeding this out in segments? Like, we're gonna do this one this week, and next week we're gonna send, or are you asking for 150 responses at one time?
So we look to so our goal, response, a good goal is 395. And we try to send it to as many groups as we can as soon as we can.
Okay, I'm sorry, what I'm asking is, are you sending 150 questions? Like, if you take 17 sections and then you break it down, say there's 2 to 5,
Oh, it's a single survey, a single email. For
One-
filling out
one-
once to 10
one shot.
in one sitting. The estimation is about 20 minutes it takes.
okay.
Yeah, it's,
If you
it's a
get too
big
long,
survey.
we see this all the time, our clients want to ask everything and try to figure everything out, it doesn't work. People drop out of surveys, they get annoyed, they quit.
Most people don't hit more on a website.
It's a real challenge these days.
Yeah,
Sorry, it was a great question, I'm sorry I misinterpreted.
no, you're totally fine.
Yeah. So
And-
that, yeah.
I'm sorry, if you're targeting age-friendly and you're going by email, you know, a lot of older folks that, you know, they don't use email or, you know, it's not their thing.
Yeah, so we have a couple of answers to that. When we have a built-in sort of backup to do some paper stuff if needed, we can distribute those and print them out and then receive them by mail with self-addressed stamped envelope. So thank you, that's a great point. And then also, that's a big part of the focus group too, is to make sure, get people talking when they don't have to do something on the computer.
Okay, so I have several notes here for us to lean this survey, and we had talked last time at the city. So first of all, one of the focuses that started this whole thing was at MVRPC, was that we want some questions there from our fire department and our EMS. That was specific to be added, and Andy is aware of that. And he will solicit our fire and EMS to have some, because that's what the township is about, is what our citizens feel. And the citizens of Beavercreek City and the township use the fire department and our EMS services.
Okay.
So we definitely want some questions that are geared towards, you know, it doesn't have to be 10 questions, but
Yeah.
a couple.
I think we will bundle, I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry.
So that's one of the things that we want to have included in the survey, because we want it to make it specific. We don't want it to be generic.
Right.
The other thing that I have not heard in the discussion so far is that you were to discuss, have a discussion with Paul Otten, our superintendent of schools. The schools were to be brought in on this discussion and to be able to add a question or two also. And so far, I have not heard that part of the discussion.
Okay. I'm happy to include that. Usually, a school superintendent is part of the distribution process for getting the survey out because teachers are either becoming older or caring for older parents, so we'll make that happen. Do you know specifically what should happen with those questions, or is it just a matter of reaching out to Paul?
I mean, you have to reach out to, I can give you his information to reach out to him.
Yeah, that would be great.
Because I talked to him last week and he had not been contacted yet. But yet that was part of the process that we had discussed.
On that note, I mean, it may be worthy, and I don't know if this was part of other conversations, peripheral, is the Career Center. So from a senior standpoint, as far as being consumers or possible consumers of the Career Center,
Well, it has to be though,
So-
only Beavercreek City and Beavercreek Township.
I understand, but
Yeah.
they use the Career Center. I
Yeah.
mean, like, we bus kids from Beavercreek schools to I mean, so I'm just,
But he can give, yeah, Paul can
that
give
may
you
be
that
a
demographic.
different.
The other thing is
Are
then.
those related or separate, the Career Center and Paul?
It's there, he's a school superintendent, but he's not superintendent of the Career Center. That's Dave Deskins.
Staff will provide you all the contact
Yes.
information and get you in coordination
It's-
with all that.
Good.
So I understand what they're asking.
Same church, different pew, yeah.
Might
Yeah.
be translated, but it's
Yeah,
it's
well-
a great question.
And then the other thing is for your access to, you know, with the QR codes that you've provided here and would be our library, would be an excellent source of information. Our senior center is an excellent place to have people be able to get the survey, and the schools. So those are three avenues where you're gonna get Beaver Creek residents to be able to respond to a survey. And I think if you hit those three areas, United Way in this area, I don't think is gonna be such a big
Fair.
response center.
Right.
The churches, yes, but definitely the library, senior center, and the schools, I think you're gonna get a much better response, higher response rate
Yeah.
than you're expecting.
And please don't think that the names I mentioned were meant to be all-inclusive.
Right.
But I appreciate those specific examples. The senior center and library are obvious ones. We know people who are used to library attended.
Because our library is heavily used in this area.
Good.
One of the most in Greene County. And Mr. Earhart is on top of that, so.
Yeah.
Because, so just so you understand what our goal was to work with the city, is we have a joint project with the senior center.
Okay.
So after the survey is done, our next step on phase 2 would be to solicit from the grant monies to do some development at the senior center. So that's why we want to lean towards, the survey is first, step 1. Step 2 is to obtain funds to do some other things at the physical things at the senior center.
Yeah, I love it. And all of this data, the whole point is not just to do a research project so that we can stop.
Correct.
We've done a research project. The whole point is to have something actionable that you can then say, I'm gonna invest in the senior center, I'm gonna invest over here.
Or what we need to do in our fire department or EMS. Is there some tweaks that we need to do for our services that the township provides? We want to be able to know that so we can tweak it in any way we can.
Just say, yeah, that's it. So appreciate your time. Again, I'll send you the takes to answer your question.
I guess our next question is the 14th the only time you're going to have an input session? Will you be coming back here to talk with us about the questions will we be able to get a copy of the actual survey so that we can have input?
So I'll be happy to move mountains to make sure you guys have the input you need. And I gotta work through Andy and you have my commitment that I'll do my best to do that. And you tell me what it takes. We can come additional times, or if you can do a Teams, we can Teams a little more often, or virtual, but we're happy to support you in however it works.
Yeah, I have a different, I came into this with a different impression of age-friendly community than what you articulated, which is perfectly fine, because you opened my eyes to other things I wasn't thinking of. When I was always thinking of age-friendly community, it was about being able to age in place. Which in the township, in the unincorporated portion of Beavercreek Township, essentially where we are, that is difficult. We don't have multifamily product. Cluster housing is an ugly, bad word in our zoning. If you go to a zoning hearing, no one wants cluster housing. They want, estate lots, essentially. And so, and then, from the economics of that piece of it, I'm confident that there is probably a fairly significant difference between the city of Beavercreek, if you did a socioeconomic and I think you've got some of those questions from an AARP survey standpoint, as far as what is we'll call it and you've got obviously census data that you can rely upon, but that's already a little bit dated, and it changes probably more on the tail end of life than it does on the early end of life, as far as the falling off of different classes, if you said the 70, 80, 60, 50 categories. So it would be interesting to understand within the city of Beavercreek boundaries versus the unincorporated boundaries, just looking at the difference of what percentage makes up each block of that age bracket. If you look at the demographic of it, are we catering to more 70 and 80-year-olds in the city than we are in the unincorporated portion? My bet is yes. But that's a hunch. I don't have any data to support that. And so when we talk about a fire station being able to support things differently, one station over that's in the heart of the city of Beavercreek compared to the one that's out here on Fairgrounds and Trabine may need to be equipped differently. So things that we'll call it the customer of our services and why we exist, You know, it may be the same need, but there's a higher need in one, we'll call it quadrant of of the whole Beavercreek Township, which includes the city. But, you know, and then, like I said, that it'd be interesting to know, because if what we're talking about are, if there are amenities that seniors need, or is it housing that we're trying to make sure we have the right type of housing so they can age in place? Or is it the support systems that seniors need? If you chase 3 rabbits, likely all 3 are gonna get away. So we need to figure out define, and maybe the city has one target that's a little bit different than our target. I know we're doing this collaboratively, and that was great that Ms. Wallace put that together, but these are just my ideas. Like I said, when I came into it, that's what I was thinking. I was like, from a zoning perspective, nobody wants that type of housing in the unincorporated. We can't, I mean, they come out with pitchforks and torches against small lots. But yet, you know, someone wants to age in place needs a place to live that they can maintain. So, just thoughts and ideas.
Great thoughts. If I could, let me summarize that to you in my own words so you can tell me if I've got it kind of right. So I'll make sure I talk to the team when I go back. But one of those key questions was, are we breaking down the data so that we can look at amenities that are appropriate for city versus township? So it's sort of understanding.
Amenities, amenities, support, and housing. I mean, those are the kind of the 3 categories.
Right, and mostly breaking down to see if certain geographies have different feelings.
Right.
And the other part of it is that age-friendly, as the definition is 0 to 100.
Yeah,
So that kind of
That's-
puts a whole
and
different
that's-
monkey wrench in the whole thing.
that may be too broad to define all in one. I don't know. Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate your taking the time for us, too.
I love it, and it's fun for me to see and experience a new community, hear how you guys are solving problems here, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board, as mentioned in the timeline, there is a city council work session next Monday, July the 14th at 5 PM. There is an open invite for all the board to attend, which would call for a special meeting. I know during our weekly briefings, Trustee Wallace is obviously attending and has attended, but the invitation is there, so if you desire to attend, please let me know soon, so that way I can know if not to advertise for a meeting or not.
Sure.
But I think it's pretty clear.
Essentially, if one more of us shows, we have to have a meeting.
Exactly.
Right.
It's pretty clear that they're willing to work with us to ensure that we have,
And this is-
parity with
Yeah,
them.
this is what date and time again?
Week from
Next
today,
Monday.
July 14th at 5 PM at City Hall.
Okay.
I would like just to add a little bit of clarity from what we're doing on a township perspective. So we did get the questions in for initial review. Colin and I are going to talk probably tomorrow, Wednesday, to start tailoring down some of these questions to make them more city/township appropriate, or narrow down to ours. I mean, in all fairness to Measurement Resources, I mean, they don't know Beavercreek like we know Beavercreek, so.
Throw 10 darts. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our job now, is to kind of tailor that down, and what they're hoping to do is to get that input back from us, so that then they can, originally, we weren't sure if we we're gonna do a joint meeting and just give it to everyone on the 14th, or if we'd have to do the 14th for the city and come back from a later date for the township. We were shooting to do the 14th all as one shot, but if that doesn't work, it doesn't work. So that's just kind of filling in the blanks of where we are on that.
Okay.
And fire, you're gonna have to, figure out what you want, what
Yeah.
kind of, we have to look at the fact that we can't talk about any political things as far as levies or anything, but you can group some
Service-based
questions, service questions that we could, you might want to define for us to know more about. And also EMS, so if you can get those questions to Andy, so we can get that in the survey. And then, Andy, you'll,
Survey, I'd like to maybe use similar questions so we can get some longitude.
yeah. And then make sure that you get him Paul's
We'll get that
information
first thing in
too.
the morning.
Because he was like, what, we're not being talked to. And I said, yeah, we'll make sure they
Thank
do.
you. Yeah, we'll get that to him.
Great. Well, thank you so much again.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we open the podium up to any citizens desiring to speak. Seeing none, we'll move on. We have no old business. Mr. Rushing, you have some new business.
Yes, Board, presented in front of you is the final cooperative agreement by Beavercreek Township and the Greene County Engineers Office. This is for the Dayton-Zinger Road multi-use path. Board, if you recall, back in 2022, the board adopted a resolution in support of applying for various funding sources for this project. We are now to the first step of awarding this project, and that is to Double J Construction. They were the lowest and best bid for that. This resolution in front of you, this cooperative agreement, has been reviewed by legal counsel. It is the same percent allocation as the original 2022 resolution that was adopted. Our total local share for this project is broken down, and it is by follow: $32,020 through Beavercreek Schools, $32,020 Greene County Park District, as well as $48,627 to Beavercreek Township. There is a request for a 10% contingency, just in case there are change orders. We don't have to come back to the board for each of the change orders. And then there is the cost allocation for the design fee, which the Beavercreek Township's design fee cost allocation is $9,312.
Is that in addition to or part of the 48?
In addition to. So the total cost is $62,802. This was discussed during our budget hearing and inputted into our capital improvement fund, which we do have sufficient balance to cover. And the board resolution of 2022 does commit ourselves to this project.
So what is the county kicking in?
Greene County Engineers Office is going to handle all inspections as well as project administration, which generally speaking, I don't know the percent offhand, but there's generally a significant percentage of costs that will be incurred by both project administration as well as the inspection that will be absorbed internally by the Greene County engineers' cost.
But the project design fee is, who's designing it? A third party for the county, or the county is designing it?
The county has already spent those dollars to a third party.
And so they're looking for reimbursement.
Correct.
And yet the largest stakeholder didn't get a chance to bid the design?
That's correct.
Okay.
We participated in the agreement, and in the 2022 resolution, we committed to authorizing this project as well as any design fees and any additional costs that would come forward.
Can you pull up on GIS and show just where this is gonna be located, where it'll start and terminate?
I actually have the actual,
Or if you've got the map of it?
well, yeah, let me stand by. So Dayton-Zinger, Ankeny Road from the school's property,
Sure.
transversing east. This is their first drive and then second drive. It will complete at the second drive. This right here, and it's in the resolution, was a alternate that was bid. It was the local partners, including the township. We requested not to award this section, and that section has not been awarded, and that's worded that way in the presented agreement. So it's from the school's property to the west at Ankeny, going to their second entrance, which is terminating here.
Okay.
So does this, does it start anywhere where people can,
There are no,
Get-
there's no sidewalks on Ankeny, correct?
That's correct.
And there's no sidewalks leading to Ankeny.
That's correct.
so it's essentially just a path in the middle of,
It's a sidewalk to and from nowhere.
Yeah, the thought process with MVRPC and with the funders is that the logical termini has to start somewhere. So we have a willing property owner, the school district, So the school district will hopefully be the catalyst in providing the additional sidewalk expansion, if that would ever occur, along east towards Dayton Xenia, going towards Treybine, or going west if Dayton Xenia would ever to expand in the future. The logical termini is always a discussion point in the grant funding process. So the funders were okay with starting with a willing property owner, which is the school district.
And so were there any community input sessions for this? As far as this something that township residents want their dollars spent on?
To my knowledge, there was no community input sessions other than the overarching, I guess you would call impetus to this project would be the Safe Routes to School, which there was extensive community input sessions. As the board would recall, this was initiated by a township resident who lives in Stonehill Village, who's very adamant about Safe Routes to School. Now, how it has morphed over the years may have been different, but that was an inclusive project spearheaded by the township, the school district, Greene County, and other partners for that.
Right. That connection, though, from that community will actually come through the landings at Overbrook, the nursing home. So it won't, those people would never traverse to here to get to that school. It's possible to the west and potentially up Ankeny, but it sure seems like a lot of money being spent on something that won't get used. I'm just throwing that out there, so. Because the nursing home approval, which I had nothing to do with other than as a township trustee, helping to, trying to get the schools together with, at that time, to get them to approve, with Mr. Grogan, who's not here tonight, emergency access that would double as a walking path, from the, school driveway up into the nursing home at the end of the cul-de-sac of Overbrook, and that was accomplished. And that actually provides a walking path from Claiborne Greens to the school without going through the woods. I mean, that was, a lot, hundreds of thousands of dollars were spent on that to make that happen. And that nursing home is under construction and headed towards the finish line. So it seems like a lot. I'm not against safe routes to schools. When Ed Amrine and the resident that you're discussing and myself, we started that conversation. I think Mr. Zaharif was the administrator at that time. It was all about getting connectivity from at least our largest populous center to that school because the number of kids that were going to that school. And in the event the school had to cut back on busing, if they weren't able to pick kids up, they needed a way to get there without parents, dropping them every morning and creating a traffic problem, so.
Do you know the approximate square foot? I mean, what's the distance between Ankeny and this spot?
I don't know,
What's
but I
the
can pull up
length?
GIS and we can measure it.
I'll say it might-
And then
if
what's
we
the
zoom-
length between the end spot and, I just lost the name of the road, the one that goes north.
Ankeny,
No, from the end spot of the end,
You took it to the east,
yes,
Treybine?
Treybine.
It's a long distance, and that's actually part of a PUD that doesn't want sidewalks along Dayton Xenia.
Oh, okay.
so Dayton Xenia, Ankeny, obviously, Quay Treybine. This right here is the second drive that it would terminate at. The alternate would extend it to the entire property line, but local partners in the project have decided not to award that.
Okay.
As you can see, that's the
Oh, wow,
transverse,
that is
east to Treybine.
It's a long distance,
That
plus
is a-
it crosses, there's a property in there that is not part of the PUD. And then the reality is that 2026, Mr. Rushing, if you can scan to the east there, that the flashing lights will become a roundabout. And so the discussion I've had with the engineer is how are you safely going to cross kids across a roundabout? Because the ones I've seen in Hilliard and Dublin essentially are human speed bumps. Because you just don't expect to see someone crossing an elevated crosswalk at a roundabout on a 55-mile-an-hour road.
No.
And so the master trails plan that was created years ago, I don't know, maybe 10 years old, I don't know how old that is, but it's old. That essentially was taking this trail and connecting it up Treybine. But I've asked the engineer every time I've seen her, does she have funding to purchase the right-of-way along Treybine? And the answer is no, that she'll take it by eminent domain, but the commissioners don't support that. So it becomes if you click the dimension tab, it'll actually throw dimensions on it. What might have been more, and at the end of the day, the walking path that comes down the hill from the nursing home to the school's property is the shortest path to that, we'll call it Stone Hill Village. As far as getting residents, if the residents would actually walk from, I'll call it the neighborhoods that had the well problems, to the west. Number one, I don't know what district they're even in. Do those kids attend this school or not? Obviously, those maps, the redistricting maps, those can change. Not subject to, that's subject to other factors and forces other than logistics. So it's, like I said, to me, that seems like there's better ways for all three parties to spend roughly 110, 120,000. But
Yeah, I thought we had talked about that in a meeting prior and seeing if they would move that to, a different location to attach it to the walking paths that were going to be going in from.
it seems like we're a horse before the cart. And Mr. Rushing, and I've said this to the engineer, I've not said this piece of it to you or in front of you, is that until we can safely cross the streets from, we'll call it Orchard Lane to the school, we have no crosswalks at any of those streets. We have no signalized crosswalks, and we have no sidewalks along Dayton Xenia. So for lack of a, it's I hate to say it's like the bike trail over 675, but I think they took the counter off that one as far as how few people actually use that bridge. But this just seems like a sidewalk to and from nowhere. So, but I appreciate staff's going through it. My opinion hasn't changed. It's been consistent, so.
Well, board, I'll
put it
look
to
to
a
legal
vote.
counsel, but we have a 2022 resolution that the board, two of the trustees sitting here voted for this very project, and this very project was applied for, it got funded. This project hasn't changed. That
Sure.
vote that was adopted, and we are bounded by that resolution, I would presume, to support this project. And that is what staff has been bound by to pursue.
Are you suggesting that we can be legally compelled to spend the money for it? Because I don't think we can.
Well, I will look to legal counsel.
Well, I mean, there was a resolution that approved the application for the grant
Correct.
and it laid out sort of what the proposal would be, and I think there's some language about subject to changes and.
Because we also passed a
Yeah.
resolution to build 66, and we haven't built that yet. So I'm saying as far as being able to legally compel us to spend the money,
But we
I don't believe
received
that.
181,000 already, correct?
Correct.
Of federal funds.
That's correct.
Okay, we've received the funds?
We've been awarded. I don't know if it's been,
Okay.
put in their bank account or not, but it's been
But the
awarded.
resolution didn't say this is where the path will go specifically.
Actually, the application probably did.
Yeah,
I'm sure
it
of
did.
it. And I have the resolution right here. It speaks pretty clear.
No, I'm saying on the application, did it say, can the dollars be spent somewhere else?
That application was not included in the resolution.
No, not at that time. That was a resolution to apply for the grant. I'm
Right.
saying on the application to the grant, could we run it north-south on Ankeny rather than east-west on Dayton Xenia?
No, I'm fairly certain the plans in front of you were the plans that were utilized
Because you had
for
to
that
get a
grant.
bid, most
Correct.
likely. You submit the bid with your application
Correct.
and an engineering drawing. Okay, all right. Yeah,
Okay.
That changes it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. It's unfortunate. So,
Any other discussion? I'll make a motion 20250707-admin-G to accept the cooperative agreement for the Dayton Senior Road multi-use path by and between Beavercreek Township and the Greene County Engineers Office as presented.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
no. Okay.
And then the second item would just be the purchase request, just authorizing the purchase for the same amounts
Sure.
that were in the resolution. And
And
that's
you're
also
doing
as
two
a-
separate amounts for the one for the reimbursement.
Correct.
plus the other one.
And they are written as such and the presented motion in front of you.
And the 53 includes the 10% override?
Correct.
Okay. Or contingency, I should say.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's written to not to exceed, so if it does exceed, we would have to come back in front of the board to seek any type of change order. But that gives a 10% contingency to start out with.
But the contingency doesn't, the design is done.
Correct.
They have the cost. There's no contingency unless they
Something in the
hypothetically hit
field.
something if they find a
Correct.
rare frog or something. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Make a motion 20250707-admin-H. Move to approve the purchase request 25-FIN-0140 in the amount not to exceed $53,490 to Double J Construction for the local share of the Dayton Xenia Road multi-use path project and $9,312 to Greene County for the project design fee.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. And the reason for my yes is that if my peers support it, then we have to pay for it.
Thank you, board. Now back to regular programming. Go to our monthly reports. First is the Greene County Sheriff's Office. Sergeant Kessel is here to give us an update.
Good evening, board. Just a few things tonight. Want to discuss the community engagement. Obviously, the 4th of July event was a success. In partnership with the city parks, police department, of course, the fire department. No issues. Mr. Kretz, this year, as you suggested last year, we did concentrate some of our efforts south of 35, so we had good presence. We had 5 deputies on at the event, including myself and two township meetings. So
Great.
have a great presence. I did want to thank Terry, John, and Nicole for cutting in checks for the deputies that worked the event. That went along with them changing out of the event, so I gotta thank them for that. Of course, I wanted to plug in for the Greene County Fair. It's coming up the 27th through the 2nd. And also, we were invited to participate in Beavercreek City Night Out. They rebranded it as now the Night Against Crime. And we'll have a deputy craft out there, the township event, and community engagement, and also the SWAT team is going to be out there. So the sheriff's office and the township will have a nice presence for that. An update on the Constable Fogwell project. If you recall, Constable Fogwell was murdered in 1872. And I did present the application to the sheriff, forwarded it to the National Law Enforcement Memorial. They did approve that application, so his name will be etched on the wall in DC in May of 2026.
Nice job.
Yeah, thanks. Excited about that. It was a neat project. Of course, I'm working with Mr. Rushing on maybe some local press and just get some awareness out there to the
Sure.
residents. Big deal. And also, I wanted to mention there has been at that time of the year, unfortunately, we've had an uptick in thefts, not only from vehicles, but also vehicles. I just wanted to remind the residents, lock your doors. Fortunately, people are leaving their keys inside vehicles, firearms inside vehicles, unsecured vehicles. Not maybe turn on your lighting, close your garage door, and report activity. When deputies are out, they're logging extra patrols, neighborhood checks. It's tough. We're taking reports north, Daffodil area, that's Three Meadows, and we're also down south. So we're active. It's going to take the residents helping us out as well.
On the vehicles themselves, is there a favorite flavor of the month, or is it any?
It's just whatever opportunities made available.
Okay.
It's really all the community. So just even stuff, once again, keys to the vehicles.
The
Even also
insurance,
pulling on handles. That's what we
just testing them, yeah.
Are you catching, you had a lot of B&Es this season.
So, yes,
Are you catching some of these people?
well, we're recovering the vehicles. As far as instant, of course, the theft occurs overnight, early morning hours. The resident reports it, and then we check flock, which is great, and then we end up recovering it, so sometimes quicker than others. And we've had some theft from construction sites and some pretty decent equipment, so guys are out, but we're trying.
Yeah.
Through.
You would think the prevalence of Ring doorbells alone would just slow it down, because it's impossible just about to go anywhere and not be on a Ring doorbell.
Criminals they're smart, they cover up, but.
Sure.
So we have a lot of video of them doing it, but actually catching plates or, good descriptions of vehicles and neighborhoods, unless we'd invest in maybe flock cameras and all the interested communities, that's gonna be it's just difficult.
Yeah.
It just takes a deputy driving through or a resident vigilant that sees something odd happening, call so we can respond.
Sure.
We are active, we know it's an issue.
Great.
And of course, we had our monthly back cash reports, and Kathy answered the questions regarding the monthly report.
I just saw, is there a reason why we have so many more abandoned vehicles this year than last year? I mean, the upswing was, on your report was pretty hefty.
So, I did not look at that category. How many?
21 versus, I think, 5 or so? I mean, it was,
What's the definition of an abandoned vehicle?
So it's really depending on the deputy. So abandoned vehicle could be a disabled vehicle that's been abandoned after a certain amount of time. It could be a vehicle in a parking lot that depends on what the deputy puts in its call type. So it could be
oh,
disabled
okay.
or abandoned.
So it could be a car stolen and then just left there too.
Could be classification, or it could just be
We
a,
would reclassify that call type as a stolen.
Oh, okay.
yeah, but it could just be a broken down vehicle that they didn't come back within the tag day.
Sure, it could fit the ORC definition of an abandoned vehicle on the roadway, even though it belongs to the resident with a flat tire or a expired reg.
So you just,
It's
there's,
just a call type.
okay, so there's no reason that's been,
It's not, I don't think there's an issue with it, like individuals dumping vehicles.
okay. Well, I wanted to say I wasn't here when you got your award, but I do want to say congratulations on your Supervisor of the Year for Greene County Sheriff. Congratulations on that.
I appreciate that. It's humbling, thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Now move on to Human Resources. You have the monthly report in front of you. Are there any questions?
I had none.
I had none, just from a continuing ed standpoint, is there anything that the township should or needs to consider doing to help you as far as, on your certification? And obviously, you went down that path with SHRM, so is there anything we need to do that you're not provided, or any tools that you need from a standpoint of just staying, you're in a world where obviously, and you're familiar with it from a legal perspective, but it changes every year, and sometimes twice.
Actually, CLEs don't change all that much, which is
Sure.
great, but, and so far SHRM hasn't, and I'm able to get SHRM
Okay.
credits pretty routinely through OTARMA training, PWC training.
Okay.
I belong to the Miami Valley Human Resource Association, and they have several, so I haven't had any issues with that.
Good, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Board. We'll now move on to Community Development at Risk. First is an action item, an interesting tool in the toolbox that we're contemplating, and that is some registration and regulation on transient vendors. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Earhart to present.
Yeah, Mr. Rushing had asked me to look into the possibility of getting some regulations regarding door-to-door salesmen and what the ORC calls transient vendors. So I did some research in that. What you have before you tonight is a draft resolution. A lot of that is based on the Ohio Revised Code and its specific section. You do have a couple of input opportunities. The first one is section 3 of the regulations there. Section 3 gives you the ability to set the fee. It can be a maximum of $150, and that's what we've set it at. It's a maximum of $150 per applicant that comes in. Other communities do it as maybe $75 for the first person for the same company, and then so on for other individuals. We thought it would probably be most prudent just to do the $150 per. That way it didn't get messed up and figured out who's trying to sell for what company. The second input is the time frame. The Ohio Revised Code allows you to do time, place, and manner. The time would be this one. We kind of plugged in Monday through Friday from 10 to 8 p.m. Thought that was a reasonable time frame. Obviously, we could do it every day of the week if that was something that the board wanted, or we can leave it there. We can do 8 a.m. to 8, whatever time that the board desires. We can change that. And the last one is the actual section that involves permitting transient vendors. And I've been working through Don and through Ryan to kind of get a good application together. We think we're pretty much there. That application will be required. There's a couple of different methods. Some places issue badges, some people stickers, different things. We thought for us it would just be, we'll give you the permit once you apply for it. We approve it, based on having everything filled out. Copy of the driver's license along with it, and then you carry that with you as you're out doing your door-to-door sales in case you're asked to provide proof of that. So those were the inputs that we put in as staff, and kind of up to you now.
Can you go back to section 3 and 4? And so, on section 4, you're issuing these for a 90-day period?
And that's out of ORC, yeah.
And that's that's the
Yeah.
minimum or the maximum, or that's what it says?
They said thou shall be issued for a 90-day period of time. I actually
Okay.
have the
That's fine. I just didn't know if that was, if we had flexibility in that or not. And then on, section 5,
And this registration shall be valid for a period of at least 90 days after the date of registration. So we
Okay.
kind of stuck with that 90.
and so these hours seem very reasonable during summer hours, but if you think about 8 p.m. in the middle of winter for one of our age-friendly, or our seniors, essentially, when someone comes to your house at dark, it's
dark around 6
Yeah.
p.m. in the wintertime.
or if you have 5:30, yeah.
Thinking
it's-
8 p.m.
it's a-
anytime was
it's a
probably
different-
too late to come to my house.
We plugged in the time. I mean, we could sure do it 10 to 5 or 10 to 6.
I mean, I know why they're doing it. They want to go when people are home from work, when
Sure.
the majority of people. So I'm just pointing that out, that time of day in the evening, it feels a lot different when it's pitch black outside in the
And
winter.
that is discretionary, so if we want to have a seasonality behind it, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. during these months, and then
That's
back
what I would
up.
recommend.
I like that idea,
Otherwise, I just
seasonality.
think people get 8 p.m. when it's dark, it feels different than 8 p.m. in July. So
May through September.
however you
I'm
do,
just
yeah.
throwing out some time frames.
Yeah.
When's our time change now? It seems to move around all the time.
October, yeah, around
don't know.
Halloween, doesn't it?
First weekend in November.
When's it start?
Yeah, it's usually around Halloween, and then it goes, you
Yeah.
could time it to the daylight savings time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Except they're
Yeah.
supposed to get rid of it.
Yeah, until they
Maybe.
do, yeah.
Who knows?
The
I
other
still think
option is you
8
could
PM
say
is a
Monday
little
through
late
Saturday,
for
10 to 6,
just
and then that way
as
you
someone
capture
who
the people
has-
not working.
Absolutely, trying
Oh,
to
that's
get
a good
everyone
idea.
settled down for the evening.
Dawn had a
made a good idea.
suggestion.
You could go Monday through Saturday between 10 and 6 year-round, and then that way it leaves
them
open the
time.
opportunity when people may not be working,
Yeah.
and then you're not worrying
I'm okay
about
with
when
that.
does this change.
I like that.
That
I like that.
That'd
10
be
to
better,
6 is.
yeah, 10
Monday
to
through
6 p.m.
Saturday.
Then you don't have to worry about season. Well, it's October, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
it's November, no.
I like putting as little variables on it as we can and make it more absolutes, and that sounds like a pretty good suggestion.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like 10
I
to
was-
6.
and then, we can finish this, but a question for, Sergeant Kessel, so is a Segway or a hoverboard legal on the road?
There's one in my neighborhood today.
'Cause they don't stay on the sidewalk.
So many
No.
different caveats.
There's no turn signals on them, that's why,
Yeah, I mean, I see it every day where bicycles are blown stop signs and traffic lights.
Yeah.
Buses, so considered a vehicle, so I have to do some digging, but.
it's just curious, I mean, it's one of those things where they zip fast, I mean,
We kind of look, I would say the other way, but.
yeah, I get it, yeah, how much do you wanna bother, there's more bigger fish to catch, so.
This actually will give the, I'm sure you get lots of calls about people who are out, selling, so this gives you some teeth to make sure that they're registered and everything else.
The only other thing that I would suggest is that that they're so two things. One is that their permit, as far as you said, you're gonna issue like a driver's, like a card of some sort.
But
That
we'll
it-
issue the actual paper copy of the permit, so we can.
And I guess my thing is, it's almost as though it should be worn on a lanyard, because when they show up, they can say, I have a permit to do this.
We can come up with some sort of badge system. We were trying to keep costs down.
I
and
get it,
everything
yeah.
else.
I'm just trying to think, because when someone goes, the bigger piece of this is how do you communicate to the world that this now exists in
Yeah, I mean, it's
Beavercreek
pretty easy to
Township?
say, hey, I'm okay,
Yeah,
if you get that far. Are you allowed to be here? Yep, I'm good to go. We can figure out some sort of system,
but the broader thing is, how do vendors know that they need to get a permit now? How do we get that?
Yeah, it's gonna be
message?
purely educational.
when
We're
they
we're
get out
gonna
of
use,
jail, they can come.
we're gonna use all traditional, I mean, it's gonna be in an in-touch article, it'll be in our social media. When I give the state of the township addresses, during that time of year.
I mean, do you get calls now from vendors
We do.
asking, or is a permit required?
Yeah, I ran into one a couple of weeks ago,
Okay.
walking in the parking lot, a group of four gentlemen in a car, so.
Okay.
And they came in and talked to Lori about a permitting process.
And it's so common across the nation that many of the larger groups understand this to be a reality, because we do routinely get people walking in just thinking it already exists, and we tell them we don't have any regulation. So some of it's self-policed.
So what is the punishment for the crime if you don't have
It's a
one?
minor misdemeanor, they can cite them
Okay.
as minor, I mean, it's.
Yeah, part of the statute requires us to forward this to the county prosecutor's office, so if
Sure.
it passes, we forward that. I spoke to Sergeant Kessel, my preference is that this is educational, we try to get this out there to inform people of what it's about. We certainly don't wanna, tie up 911 for these types of matters. But, and with that, I've already been in contact with one of the largest HOAs to distribute this among their listserv. We can do that with other HOAs to distribute this among their email list. And it's kind of one of those items where we want this to be some teeth, but there's a carrot too, and that's the education part.
Yeah.
And also with that, Mr. Earhart found, I think it was Harrison Township,
Butler Township.
Butler Township, that has, they did a kind of crafty item where they did a co-branded township logoed, no solicitation window cling that they hand out during their pub ed events. So that's something else that if you read section 8, it does allow us to prohibit, contact if someone has a reasonable sign in a conspicuous place.
Okay.
Nice to hand them out at the popcorn festival.
Yeah.
Window clean.
And so, if a HOA has a no soliciting at the entrance to the neighborhood, and this could apply to CCN, it could apply to Nathaniel's Grove, anything that are in the township, and you cross that, is that trespassing?
It's a kind of a gray area. It's something that we've dealt with quite a bit. There's obviously a little more weight on private property, like say, country
Sure.
to the north. But I would say typically you would give somebody a warning. Would you say
Sure.
that's a reasonable warning in the entrance? So I would say no.
Yeah.
If there's a sign literally on somebody's door that says no soliciting, then I think there'd be, as you say, mention teeth, or
Sure.
you could go potentially cite somebody for trespassing. Whether or
Yeah.
not the court would entertain that, probably not. But
The ones that came to my house, I gave them an A forever. I'm like, guys, you're kicking butt. You've been here 3 times today, and you sent a different guy to the door each time, and you got the same no each time. But you're relentless, but
Give me a
you're,
roof or some stakes or some.
This is uncharted territory with the sheriff's office, really, it's unincorporated areas, I mean, it's really no rules for solicitation. So I'm curious to see how this will work and what the prosecutor has to say, and working with the sheriff's office and entering that code into our citation software and getting the word out. So it should be good.
well, one HOA's response was, call the sheriff if they come to your door, which is probably not what you want, necessarily.
We'll still go out and, talk to them and
Yeah.
make sure things are on the up and up. We do our best to
Yeah.
satisfy the residents, but
Okay.
right now it's kind of tough, but having this in place would make it a lot easier for everybody, that's for sure.
Okay.
What about political people that
That's
walk?
That's a whole,
yeah.
that's a whole thing off limits.
It's not regulated, yeah.
Yeah.
And the definition in the ORC, basically, Girl Scouts, another one, you know, Boy Scouts selling popcorn, Girl Scouts selling, members of 501c3 organizations are exempt from this.
They're usually not the issue. It's the,
Yeah.
it's the bug
gonna be
control.
Your religious, your political, and your 501 that are exempt from this.
And
Yeah.
usually they don't get bug, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get back
Landscapers,
to,
bugs.
I kind of like the idea of having the certificate rather than a placard, I mean, a card, because, a badge, because it's only good for 90 days, and somebody, on a devious side, if you have a badge, then you just kind of hold your finger over the date, and you say it's good. It could be 120 days from now, and you say, oh, I got this badge from the township, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a piece of paper, the paper will clearly state the day it expires.
You could change that as well. I can edit a PDF with Adobe. I get it. I mean, I don't, portability, I'm assuming the kid on the Segway, flying down the road isn't gonna probably keep a piece of paper in his pocket.
Oh, he'll have to.
I mean, we can definitely work on the mechanism, but.
I just thought a badge of some sort would let an older person know, hey, I've got a badge. It could be a fake badge. I mean, I could hack
And
it.
they already have them generally from their companies anyway,
Yeah.
so they could put something one side or the other.
Generally speaking, the ones that are doing the soliciting, the younger ones, they usually have a fake ID for the bars anyway, so it wouldn't be hard to get
Well,
a,
there's that.
yep, so,
All right, so to recap, 10 to 6.
you got it. 90
Monday through
days,
Saturday,
we're set on 90 because that's the ORC.
and still at 90, and then maybe as far as the.
Something to display.
Now, I will say that the ORC says at least 90 days.
Correct.
So technically, at least 90 days means that's the minimum you can do. You
And
could
do
do
we
it.
say in here that they must renew it after 90 days? Or can
It's
they,
just valid for
can
90
they,
days.
okay,
Right.
so that implies.
And we did a sampling of surrounding jurisdictions,
fine.
and they do the minimum of 90 days.
That's fine. I would have said less if you
Oh, you
didn't
got
have to
like
do
Monday
90.
through
Yeah.
Saturday
Figured
now.
that, yes.
It'd be like
Sorry,
30
that
days
question.
maybe.
Yeah, no, we're limited by ORC for the 90.
Okay. And display, and have something to display, whatever that mechanism is, and you may
Shall
have
display township,
Something.
something be able to provide evidence of it is the biggest thing that they have, that they're, have the permit. Because if they go to a certain resident and the resident calls you, and you need to be able to say, show me your permit.
We see it, verify it.
Because you're not gonna have a list, and, you know, your deputies aren't gonna have a list in the car. So, and then you could determine, does the name match the, Yeah.
the text change for the time is easy to do for the resolution.
yeah, that's fine.
Yes, he's
I don't
already
know
done
about
that.
the other part of it. We're gonna come back to that.
Which part?
The
Section
display
9.
of something.
Oh, section 9, I think, as long as you start with displaying with what you've got, and then essentially.
Yeah, I mean,
if
that says a
if that
permit
doesn't-
furnished. I mean, that the
mechanism.
format of the
Yeah.
permit or the mechanism,
Right.
this,
It can be
we
whatever.
could still work
Yeah,
with
staff
that.
can
But
handle
make
it.
sure that we're fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not adopting the form, we're adopting the regulation.
Right, it's not a tattoo, it's a card
Right.
or something, so,
We can tattoo them, yeah.
okay.
But I'll print this off since we made the edit, but you can adopt it as amended.
Amended, yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion for resolution number 20250-707-CDR-A to require, enact regulations for transient vendors within the unincorporated territory of Beavercreek Township as amended.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Krebs?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, that was so painful. We got there, though.
We got through it. That's what matters. Well, I think as Sergeant Kessler stated, this will be a unique test to see how it all kind of works out. Hopefully,
The other communities, you can learn from them if they've had it for a while and see what works and what doesn't, so.
and
city
Don,
does
I don't know if
require
you
them
can
as
fill
well.
this in, but I think there might have been some legislative changes a little while back that even allowed us to do this, because a lot of places are adopting it pretty frequently, or pretty recently, I should say.
Well, it's
Most-
important.
Yeah,
If I
the most
looked
recent
at it
change
years
was
ago back in-
2017.
Yeah, I think it.
I think if you pump this out to the HOAs, that's gonna probably solve 90% of your problem.
When Mr. Rushing asked me about this to begin with, I said, no, there ain't no big deal. And then I went to research, I'm like, well, yeah, there is something.
Yeah.
we can do. So, the.
Because the word will spread pretty quickly if you get it on those, if you get on those groups to
Well,
put on
they'll
their
tell
social
people,
media.
Hey, you're not allowed to do this unless you got a permit.
Right.
Where's your township permit?
Yeah.
So that'll help spread that word.
Yep.
Mr. Rushing has got.
And to answer your question about the hoverboard laws in Ohio, electric personal assistant mobility devices, including hoverboards, are allowed to be operated on public streets, highways, sidewalk, and bike path, as long as certain conditions are met. The operator must yield the right of way to pedestrians and human-powered vehicles at all times and give an audible signal when overtaking the pedestrian. They are required to have proper lighting and time. They are not allowed to be on 55-mile-an-hour roadways. That's it.
Okay.
So
Hey,
they
look
are
out.
legal.
So crossing Draybine is the challenge.
It's not 55.
We can get on our,
That's not the posted.
It used to be.
I say, my kids are in trouble.
Great. Thank you. Anything, what else did you have for us? A community
I
plan,
have,
future land use
land use
maps?
plan.
Yep.
For you this evening. Finishing up with that. So you now have a binder in front of you, and as we go through and discuss different things, you'll see like under the first tab, it'll say the character areas, we discussed those last time. And then tonight is maps. You have a giant legend as the very first page of your maps. So you didn't have to keep looking at the small one on the screen as we're moving around. I separated the township out into 4 areas, the south, the mid, the north, and the west. The west being the smallest one, and it really pretty much only contains the area down by the green and the area up by Wright Pat. That has changed a little bit because that area is coming out for potential future development. So on that area on the west, we'll get to that when we get there.
This is the total map.
Oh, the total map, yeah. So the total map is the first page that you have. It's really kind of hard to read. It's easier to read when it's in the GIS system. Basically, we'll take a look at the south section first. So here's the south quadrant. So they overlap, obviously, but this is pretty much everything south of US 35. And then boundary line to boundary line, east and west, and boundary line to the south. You can see the land use colors listed out. Those haven't changed. We do have to work on them a little bit to get them to color code with the character areas. However, I think the biggest thing we were looking for this evening is to just get some feedback on what it looked like before. Have we cleaned it up? Are these areas make sense to you? Should we focus on different areas? Myself and Mr. Rushing have been through pretty much area by area looking at this, trying to figure out what did and didn't make sense and include them. And I'm gonna walk over to the board for just a second. For instance, a lot of this area along through here was kind of chopped up. And we thought it just made sense that that's all an industrial area instead of having these little chopped up pieces. And the one thing to remember is this is future land use. This is not existing land use. This is what we want to see in the next 10, 15 years. So it is going to differ from what the existing land use is. In some areas not. For instance, if it's already existing residential subdivision, it's probably not going to change. But obviously things could happen down around the future Valley Springs Farms, that area over there where Phillips is, that could be potentially redeveloped at some point in time, but still as an industrial nature. We've got that whole corridor along, well, that'll be in the midsection, but Dayton Xenia, and then 35 shows the red, which is that corridor commercial. So that's where all of our
car.
car dealerships, Circle K, not Rural King, Tractor Supply.
Don't you, on Alpha Bell and Indian Ripple, that corner, I mean, isn't that what was approved for residential, at least all but one small section?
Yeah, I need to change that, you're right. So you're talking about
Right in
that
there?
area there.
In between
Yeah.
factory and,
Yep, we
yeah.
need to change that, because that's gonna be, we missed that one. This is the potential high school site, right there in the blue.
Not anymore.
But yeah, this would still be this, pink coming over like this, but this would change into, the low, not the low impact, but the,
Medium density, probably.
yeah.
So on your color-coded map, are there two different shades of light yellow? Mixed rural and, or is it just the way I'm looking at it?
That must be the way you're looking at it.
Okay,
It's
that's
only
fine.
the one.
That's better. Okay.
I think you're not seeing things.
I see a lot of things. You should hear what I don't say.
And board's very aware that you will have multiple touch points with this map. This is the initial, you're getting feedback.
Yeah.
We're doing this in sections, which is why we did the character areas at previous meeting, initial reaction to the map this meeting. Once we have all the complete plan put together, by law, we have to do a public hearing, which will be where we request the final adoption. So we know it's a lot, we know it's a lot to take in, which is why we're trying to facilitate it, piece
Well
by
organized.
piece.
Piece by piece.
How to eat an elephant.
Yeah, that's Ryan's,
So what would be helpful if you can, provide, so from a zoning commission standpoint, so when a case goes before the zoning commission, before it comes to us, so the criteria that they work through, and I've asked this before, and I think I know the answer, but one of them is the plan consistent with, is the request consistent with the land use plan? And so this becomes one of the criteria to approve zoning in the future. We can say it's a guide, we can say it's a plan, we can say it's an idea, but when it becomes a criteria that they measure against, if it's checked no, then how should they proceed to make a recommendation?
Well, I mean, there's 9 or so criteria. I don't think one should override all of the rest, but I do think,
That'll take an education process.
Sure, and I do
Because-
think
because
it's
if
an
you have
important-
eight yeses and one no, then maybe it's a better fit to make, to
well, one of the
approve
things
it.
I've always tried to educate the boards with is it's kind of like civil case versus criminal case. With a criminal murder case, you have to prove it all. You need all yeses. With a civil case, you just need that preponderance, that you gotta tip the scales one way or the other.
Yeah,
And, that's one of the things they're having a hard time digesting, but we're getting there.
okay.
That's good. We did find, things that jump out. Obviously, the Ober property jumps out. And that's what we're trying to discuss here. Is anything that jumps out immediately that you say, nope, that is wrong.
And we're doing the immediate right now. This isn't your only bite at this apple. I mean, we can take as much time to get this right as needed. We do have our own GIS. I have GIS now, the chief's had it for years, but I have it from a land use side of things now. And I'm able to manipulate these things and move them around and change colors and.
And kudos to Andy. He did this all himself in GIS. So we now have that tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
Don't tell too many people.
And so the.
I don't really know how to do it. I just stayed at Holiday Inn Express.
does the area over there on Harlow where and I can't think of the development right now, that's the multifamily,
Hillside,
and that's still showing medium density, that
was zoned 6 units an acre.
is that?
Which is medium
With, that is in the medium? Okay, I couldn't recall.
And we had a large discussion about that density last time, Mr. Chris, and that change is reflected back in the character areas. So we're just saying medium density at 6 units per acre, not this mix or anything else. I thought that made perfect sense.
Yeah. The only thing I'd notice on this one, and you'd have to pull the PUD, I don't know if you've done that or not, but essentially both sides of Hilltop as they go up. It's a farm today, but it could be Ryan Homes based on the PUD. On the Kubander farm. And then the Kerwin Platinum property. Believe it was up to 4 units an acre.
So we may want to
So
boost that up.
I'm
So
just,
right now, we.
the exercise would be to do 2 things, and my request before you touch this, make any changes is, one is look at the PUDs that are already in place that exist on this map in general, and then make sure that we align with what the PUD says, because That was the problem that was a challenge we had before. Was that there were PUDs in place that already were beyond the
We're not
density.
being addressed.
Well, that we had to essentially, you could potentially, a landowner that's bought in a PUD could come and say, I want to do my density, that's
Yeah,
it.
and you're absolutely correct. When we looked at this map originally from the stuff I brought in, all this section, pretty much up in here, was still mixed rural.
Yeah,
And we made that decision, and thinking of the PUDs and everything, to change it to the
That's-
low density.
yeah, that's one. The second would be, to look where the county's running water and sewer. Because they're running it with the anticipation that there'll be customers.
Yeah, they're not gonna run it to not use it.
Right. So when a 48 comes across and drops to a 36 to go under a creek and up a hilltop, there's a plan.
Yep, you're correct. We'll double check that area again.
And the answer may be that we don't want that, the township doesn't want that developed that way. But if it already exists in a PUD, you gotta be careful,
Yes, sir.
so.
And then as we, that's the middle section, that it's mostly Dayton Xenia corridor and,
Trayvine.
yeah, Trayvine.
Trayvine,
And then as we
Fairview.
move north, to the north quadrant,
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you look at Beaver Valley and New Germany Trade-Bine, where's that at?
right at the top.
Because you've got that in, what's that color code?
Traditional agriculture.
Traditional agriculture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what he bought it for. We've had gas stations wanna go at that corner.
And so I guess that's a question back to the group, is, you know, the trustees, is, I know that might not be what we bought it for, but what is our vision of it?
Right, and I understand that completely. That'll be for future, I'm just throwing, you've classified it as it is today.
Right.
It is traditional agricultural today. So that is likely, there's condominiums going all around that across the street. And so
Did she not rezone that area, or she just split it?
she split it
She
and
split
then he
it, okay.
combined it back, I believe, or maybe he
Okay.
didn't, but she split off to sell residential lots out front and then
That's what it
sold the whole
was.
property to the same buyer. So, but I'm just looking at the golf course and the golf course living, and we're talking about age-friendly
Oh, yeah. Probably be good in that area then,
condominiums.
to probably throw in that medium density up to 6 units.
I'm not suggesting either way, I'm just saying that's a corner where there's been a lot of different interest in higher density housing and retail.
And one of the things that we have to
And like a
take
day,
into
like a
consideration
daycare
is
wanted to go there.
truly what we as the township wanted to do and what we want it to be.
Yep.
Now, I can look back through the studies and see what we got from citizen input and everything else, so let me start there.
Yeah,
Well, I'm confused then. If you're saying, we're looking at the north quadrant, right?
Yes,
Right there. If you're saying that these maps are gonna be, technically it's 10 years from now.
5 to 10, yeah.
So then, wouldn't you wanna put that as medium density rather than putting it as agricultural?
Well, so here's the thing, if we want, well, off the map.
I mean, cause it's not gonna be
I'm a
agricultural.
mapper.
that's what I guess it could be if that's what the township
Well,
wants
and
it
that's
to
the,
be.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
question.
That's the whole thing.
That's what we're
Right.
seeking of.
You know, right now, once we get past fairground, I mean, you have some isolated spots, but that's where all your farmland is.
Right.
So do we want to take farmland and convert it to something different? That's the question.
Right.
So it's gonna
Yeah.
happen anyway.
It's contiguous to the,
To the
to where,
map.
yeah, to the city. So either Fairborn or,
Yeah, and that's
Or
the other thing,
Beavercreek.
we have to be
I mean, are we
careful
progressive and do
of
that, or
political
we?
pressures of surrounding jurisdictions.
I don't think that we should change it at this time. I mean, I think we should leave it as
well,
is.
this would
If
force them to
somebody-
come and ask for a rezoning.
come and ask for it, right.
And then one of the
We'll have to do that
but then
anyway.
one of the check marks is it consistent with the plan? No.
Yeah,
But why,
then,
but how does it fit? I mean,
Right.
that's the way it's really supposed to work, is when they
Yeah.
come in with something that's not consistent with the land
This
use
is,
plan.
this is meant to be a guardrail, not
A
a,
guardrail, yeah,
Not a wall.
and so what, if you come in and say, this isn't consistent,
none of
but
that makes sense.
why does it work?
then how can you say that that this isn't reflective of a 10 years from now?
I don't
Then you're being
disagree.
not, harmonious.
That's the hard part of a future land use plan, because we never know.
That's why builders are trying to get the state to take zoning from townships and put it with counties, because townships are trying to protect the rural or semi-rural is what the new term is.
Or at least drive that density down
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah,
And what balance does the board want to see?
Yeah, that's the big thing. Do we wanna see a mix, or or
If-
we,
The board's the elected body of the township.
Well, couldn't we do, compromise and do the things that are on the borders of the Fairborns and the Beaver Creeks and do a progressive mix
to buffer them.
to buffer
We certainly do
ourselves?
that.
yeah,
This is
That's
all up
feedback.
for, yeah.
that's,
I mean-
this is what we're looking for. This is
Because
perfect.
we know that it's probable, highly probable.
Yeah, there are those that will argue that if you take a bite of it now, then it'll just inch its way into the middle from all sides, and that's, yeah, what,
I mean, how they can stop it is the farmer doesn't sell the property, and then it's.
right, or they take it to annexation or whatever, it's no
there's-
different than,
It depends on which side you're arguing. I mean, if the farmer doesn't, I mean, that's the thing, everybody gets
You'd
all
think
bent
they
out
would
of
come to-
shape with farmland. It's like someone had to sell it,
Yeah.
you know, at some point in time. If nobody sold it, it would still be farmland.
if you don't, your kids will.
Yeah, you got that right.
I think that they should be able to do what they want within reason with their property, but I don't think we should change it arbitrarily just because eventually it might become that. It may never become that. And if they want that to become that, then they can come before us and,
Pitch their case.
right.
And ultimately, it'll come to
this
the
is a good-
trustees either way. So
Right.
it'll be up to the trustees that time you could decide, it come with a recommendation for denial and you approve it.
This is you just said the right words, pitch your case.
Yeah.
That's what this is designed to do. It hits that guardrail, pitch your case, tell us why it's gonna go in a different direction.
Okay.
We'll do some of those initial things.
At least I would do the checking of PUDs against the color maps.
Absolutely.
And then the water and sewer
We'll send
maps.
this to Eagle Eye Dawn over there. She's picking them out everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and then check
Went
with your
through
new,
Thank you.
Many meetings.
check with sanitary and then water to verify. Because
Yeah, we-
if they're running a 36-inch line up Hilltop, it's not because of
No.
the 5 houses that are there.
Yeah, and they're not because they're trying to be good
Because
stewards.
some farmer has indicated they will sell at some point in the future.
Thank you. That's helpful input.
Good,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Nicely
Sometimes
done.
you're kind of on
Nice
an
job.
island making
Well
this
organized,
map.
nicely done.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, and my monthly report, I'm sorry. I get to
Don't
talk.
forget.
Yes. We were having a zoning commission meeting this month, this coming Thursday. The only thing on that is to discuss text changes. We did not get the state of Ohio grant for our text changes. I don't know if they ran out, I just got an email that said, sorry, you didn't get it. So,
That was a bit of a mess.
that's a total mess.
Because of the, from a regional planning standpoint, I mean, Deandra and team, they did a great job, I think, of getting the word out. I mean, I called you literally from the meeting that
Yeah,
it was
and we got
announced.
it squared away, and
And then their whole application submittal process was,
they had to send it to the wrong place at first.
they literally had us send it to the wrong place. And then the thought process, there's no evidence to support it, but I mean, there were a few townships in Greene County that were selected. But at the end of the day, they were not in the ones that sent it to the wrong email address. And so the assumption, and no fact behind it yet, but is that those that were submitted to the wrong were then resubmitted after the deadline, and we don't believe any of those were counted.
Well, we got in before the deadline. We got an email that said we were in before the deadline,
To the right, okay.
to the right place.
But what I'm saying is none of them were awarded. The
But
ones
it
that,
might
the ones
not
that,
have been early enough to get
the ones that resubmitted did not get picked.
So,
So the question then to Deandra was, okay, pool other, or, question other counties and see, did anybody get it that had to resubmit?
sure.
Because they gave us the wrong email address
Yeah,
for
we
the
were all
initial.
excited and, submitted it all in and had it in.
Yeah.
At a good amount of time.
Yeah, still didn't get it.
Now, at the OTA conference, this past winter, there was discussion about this, that there was ultimately a means test as well.
Yeah, and we asked that at regional planning, but it was pretty frustrating as far as the management of the application submittal process, and then
It was frustrating from our end, I mean, trying to submit.
The fact that, at least in our county, no one that had to resubmit got it.
Right.
It's
Now, for
coincidence.
Beavercreek Township, that may answer why we did not receive it, but for their townships in Greene County, it does not.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board. We have IT. Monthly report is in front of you. Are there any questions?
All right, no questions? It's you.
I had none. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Now move on to the Finance Department. We do have one action item. That's just some housekeeping. I'll turn it over to our Finance Director, Ms. Molden.
So on page 55, we have the resolution. This stemmed from fire in their accreditation process. They were looking at old resolutions and we found out that the old resolution just stated that these reserve balance accounts in each fund could only be, money could be set aside only with 5% of revenue. So we needed to change that to either be 5% of the revenue or 1/6 of the prior year expenditures. So that's what this resolution is, updating all these accounts in each fund, budget stabilization accounts.
So state statute says we have either or, whichever is greater. The previous language did not give the either or. So we tied that to the ORC. Now we just need to update it to reflect what the ORC says today.
Sounds like a plan.
And can be passed as presented.
I make a motion for resolution number 20250707-FIN-A, a resolution to revise reserve balance accounts as presented.
Second,
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
And then on page 58, or 57, 58, sorry, we have the authorized users list for credit cards. And before, we put everyone's name on it and their position, and we have a lot of in and out with employees. So we decided, looked into it to see if we could just add the position only and which credit cards they could use. So we would just need approval on that.
If you do that, how do you track then which card, I mean, as far as if you tie it to the position and not the name, and who's signing the credit card, who are you who are you giving the policy to?
The policy goes to everyone in that position and anyone who could possibly be in that position, like OIC.
Yeah,
And they all have to sign an authorized user card.
what problem
document,
were you trying to solve?
They
Because
have to,
as far
not
as,
having to update this probably every month or two.
is that frequent?
Well,
Yeah, by statute, so beforehand, we had a listing of everyone's name. So let's say a firefighter left or got promoted. Every single time a promotion or exiting would have to come from the board to have that amended, which we have not been doing. So we looked at the ORC and we do not have to provide
But
names.
unless they were demoted, they probably wouldn't lose the card. They would keep the card in their new role, right?
Well, they don't retain possession of the card.
Yeah, there's a sign in, sign out.
So also by statute, they have to sign out the card each time they use it. So
Okay.
that's the guardrail, that's the check and balance.
Okay.
So every employee, and actually this was spurred because we had a situation where an employee's name was on the card, yet they were duly authorized in that position. Otherwise, everyone else as a lieutenant would have ability to use that card, but because their name was not an authorized user, they were unable to use it. So they came forward through the chain of command to sign out the card, but their name was absent from the list. So that posed the question is why do we name list, why not just position list? And they still have to sign out the card. So they still have to get the card from.
Traceability is usually why you want to be able to
Right.
trace it back to,
right.
you gave an individual, you authorized that individual, not to hand it to their buddy.
Well, correct. So when they sign out the card, they're signing their name to it and they're signing, attesting they know their policy.
Yeah, I did not understand that I thought they were in possession of the card. They were issued a card and they carried it
No.
with them and then
No.
they used it as needed.
No.
So,
Usually the department clerk is holding on to the cards, and then they sign them out.
And we're required by statute to keep a log, and that is subject to obviously audit and everything else.
Right. Okay.
And we no longer issue cards for travel. On the rare occasion we do, it's a virtual card in which we can turn on and off.
Sure.
Ad nauseum. And now that we do per diem and not advancements, in terms of, doing reimbursement directly for meals, that has solved that problem as well.
At the end of the day, you're comfortable with the traceability?
Yes.
And the
And
tra-
we have
and the-
6 cards, so we don't have,
Okay.
as many cards as we have authorized users.
Okay. Okay.
I'll make a motion 202-50707-FIN-B to approve the credit card authorized user list for 2025 Form A as presented.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
And the next item we have is a list of our credit cards with the account limit. The Fuelman emergency fuel cards, those are new. We had an old account, can't remember where it was, that we removed. The cards were stale because we hadn't used them in so long. So Mr. Schroeder went and got the Fuelman cards to replace those.
Okay.
There's a sample motion in front of you on page 57 or on your screen.
Make a motion 202507007-FIN-C. I move to approve the credit card account limits for the fiscal year 2025 Form C as presented.
Second.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
Then we have the monthly report. Are there any questions?
I had no questions, but you are really busy, so thank you for all your work.
I know it's a little bit premature, but you want to share the good news we got today?
We received from the auditors that our audit report was clean, and we'll have a report next week.
Yay.
Good.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, board. Now move on to public service. We have more action items, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Schroeder.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have just 3 items total. First one is a surplus resolution. This is for a dirt patcher that we've had. Over the years, we don't use it at all. It just creates quite the mess on the roadways, and we get a lot of complaints from residents. So we've kind of gone back to our old way of just milling stuff out and patching it back in. Sugar Creek, however, has a great use for it, and they've borrowed it extensively over the past few years. So we don't use it. It takes up space. It's also a maintenance item, and they can use it. So we wanted to surplus this item and then sell it to Sugar Creek Township so that they can use it. And then again, if we were to need it for some reason, we've always had a great relationship with Sugar Creek. We would be able to borrow it back if we needed it. Is there any other questions I can answer for you on that?
Did we establish a value for it?
$10,000.
Great.
Good.
I'll make a motion, resolution number 202-50707-PSD-A, finding certain township equipment to be surplus and to sell it.
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
Second item I have for you is a purchase. The Sallyport door out here on the fire station, we, last winter with as cold as it was and the winds that we got, we learned that there's no damper or break in that rollover door. So the wind was just coming right through there and it made it unbearable for people to work in that basement, which then, as I started thinking about it, we had some condensation problems that David mentioned, and I was like, this all starts to make sense as that heat was coming through. It made sense as to why this was happening. So, on the request of the fire department, they asked to go ahead and get that door changed out. So we got a couple quotes. Obviously, you can see Highfield door, Dayton door, and then we had Dayton Metal Door who did not submit a bid for it. Highfield door it's an insulated door. The other thing with them is we will get a new door opener as well for that same price. Dayton Door Sales, it was an insulated door as well, but they were gonna reuse that door opener. So it made sense, we were gonna get a new door opener for just a little bit. I mean, it's pretty close price-wise. But it's an insulated door, it'll have dampers in there, so it'll stop some of that wind, and we won't hopefully have that same condition. Is there any questions I can answer?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we sell the current door?
I don't think, we could probably scrap it. I don't think it's, because it's mortared in, I don't think it's gonna come out in
Easy.
great shape,
Okay.
to be reused, but we can scrap it and then put that money back into. Anything else I can answer?
Just asking.
Okay.
There's a sample motion on your screen on page 67.
Make a motion 2025-PSD-B. Motion to approve purchase request 25-PSD-0199 to Highfield Door Sales for one rolling steel door with opener in the amount of $14,495, and to authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
Second,
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes.
And the last thing I have is just the monthly report.
I had nothing.
I had
Thanks for
nothing
patching the
else.
stairs. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're still working on that, so, he was just out the other day, just to give you an update on that. He's gonna get us a quote back for that, and we're gonna move on that as soon as we can.
That'd be great.
thank you.
Thank you, board. Now move on to fire department. Turn it over to Assistant Chief Hawk.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for your time. The first item I have for you tonight is an acceptance of a resignation that due to some recent developments as of today and some discussions with the TA, we would like to request to table this to the next meeting.
Okay.
Great.
Our second item is our monthly report, but before we get into that, I'd like to give you two reminders. One is for a live burn training, which is July 9th, Wednesday, from 8 to 4 at the Phillips House. And the other is our active threat training, July 15th through the 19th, from 8 to 5. And you are invited to attend as much or as little as you would like. We would love to have you.
I'm already signed up. I know I asked Kate if we had to wear something special. She'd just wear your auxiliary shirt, that's all. And shorts.
And the last item we have is our monthly report.
I just want to say I didn't get to comment before, but I want to say now I love the new monthly report.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, board. That's all of the department reports.
Okay. Ms. Frick,
Nothing today.
Mr. Zaharian.
Well, the administrator took my thunder, but I was gonna announce the great job by our finance department on another clean audit. So, we did discuss today potentially doing a press release because it'll be a while before we get our actual award when the auditor's office will come down.
Sure.
This also most likely includes also receiving the 4-star rating for transparency. And that includes public records requests and much like you see the stuff before you today is on our website, the monthly reports that are provided by the finance department on our website. So
4 out of 4 or 4 out of 5?
4 out of 4.
Okay.
I never understood why they can't give us a 5th star, but it's the auditor's
Ask
office is 4 out of 4, so
It's like Woody Hayes.
4-star rating,
Why did you get 4? Because they didn't.
because they didn't give us 5. That's all I have, thank you.
Okay. NVRPC,
No meeting.
TAC,
We didn't meet, no, that's not.
okay. Opioid Regional Task Force,
Nothing to report.
Regional Planning. So we had a meeting on the 24th. There was no Beavercreek Township business on that, but there may come as a result of it. There was, Synergy essentially was looking at National Road, essentially just there was traffic studies that were done and accepting some zoning text amendment for Bath Township that would allow the mixed-use development of the land that'll be, essentially it'll become outside the gate instead of inside the gate type access. So part of their ground lease and their new mixed-use development that they're putting up for the Air Force. Health Department,
Meeting is Thursday.
School Superintendent, City Manager.
Yes,
Administrator.
Boris, a brief update. Met with city manager to speak about our initiative that we're trying to spearhead about removing utilities out of the roadway. Utilities being sanitary sewer and water, placing them along the right-of-way, along the curb and sidewalk and the tree lawn. The city's very interested in this. Their city engineer is going to review this. They're actually updating a lot of their standardized plans for utilities and other subdivision work, so this is a good time that we're having this discussion. Although it's not related to the city of Beavercreek, I also spoke to Sugar Creek Township and their administrator, and Sugar Creek Township is also very interested in joining this effort and having conversation with Greene County Sanitary Engineering about removing the utilities out of the road into the right-of-way of the sidewalk and tree lawn. Last thing, I did receive an official thank you on behalf of the city, just thanking the various township departments, fire, our substation, public service, fire marshal for all their work for the Rotary Park detail and the July 4th fireworks. Once again, we did that without a hitch, so to speak, and it went off successfully. So city thanks the township for that. That's all I have.
Okay. Restoration Advisory Board.
I sent out the information over the weekend with all the agenda as well as the PowerPoint presentation in there. There's also links to the official reports where you can spend hours looking at in detailed information through Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. A little more attendance at these public meetings. It is open to the public, so we've had a few residents from Beavercreek show up regarding some of the PFAS issues. We kind of went over as a committee with them that, that's in a different watershed district. So there were some individuals in the Grange Hall, Colonel Glenn area. So that they're not affected by this. This is on the downside towards the Mad River watershed district.
Okay. Township Association.
We have a meeting tomorrow night.
Investment Oversight Committee.
Nothing to report.
And then 911 Advisory, we actually have a meeting Wednesday.
And then I'd like to report, since, even though I wasn't reimbursed, I did go to the fly-in. I did represent the township, and I just wanted to report to the citizens that there was an award, a Hobson Award was given to Governor Mike and Fran DeWine for their involvement in the communities of Ohio. That we had a keynote speaker talking about the military threats from China, Major General Gregory Gangon. He's the Deputy Chief of Space Operations, and we also had a good discussion about the U.S. Space Force at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And that was really informative about how they're taking the Space Force and the intent of Wright-Patterson on developing it even more. They talked about foreign threats facing the United States, and Lieutenant General Dale White talked about the challenges of modernization of the air and space forces. And then we had a keynote speaker challenging the modernization of the Air Force by Lieutenant General Dale White and his military deputy of Office of the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force in acquisition, technology, and logistics. Then they talked more about the advanced look at NATO that we had here in Dayton, Ohio, which I was a part of with Congressman Turner. The congressional reception, I spoke with Congressman Turner and a couple of the legislative Senate and House committee about Beavercreek Township and monies that we could possibly get for the Valley Spring Road and federal dollars, because we only get state dollars from MVRPC. And so the sad part of it is the entire Sugar Creek Township delegation was there, along with Centerville And they ended up getting, I think, $61 million for the Clio Road,
With Montgomery County.
with Montgomery County, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're getting more federal dollars. So I think the more that we get in front of those people, the more federal dollars that maybe we could solicit. So it ended up being, I think, a productive time. That's all I had.
Great. Anything else to come before the board? If not, do we have a motion to go into executive session under Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G1, to consider the employment, promotion, or compensation of a public employee?
So moved?
And
Second.
a second?
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, board. We just need a motion to exit executive session and reconvene the regular meeting at 7:59 PM.
So moved.
Second?
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. And if nothing else come for the board, a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Ms. Wallace?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mr. Kratz?
Yes. Thank you.